Welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today we are joined by Jill Roughan. Jill, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Let's kick this off. Why don't we start by you telling us your role and what you guys do?
Sure. So I am Dr. Jill Roughan, founder and president of Sciencia Consulting, and we offer digital strategy and marketing operations exclusively for the life science company. But we work with large pharmaceutical firms to build up digital capabilities and also small startups that are just trying to build up, digital media, digital communication, educating audiences about their product or services.
And what shifts are you seeing right now in how these biotech and pharma companies really build trust and visibility in the market?
I think what we see a lot of is that every company is turning into a media company. They really are pushing out educational content, doing these podcasts, doing interviews, really helping people get to know them, the people within the company, just to build that trust. We have a big PR crisis in the pharmaceutical industry here in the US and, worldwide, I suppose. But a lot of it's warranted. So we really are just working to educate, help people get to know the processes, the procedures, how science is done, and, the end result. So, people can take advantage of all the various options that they have available to them.
Led you to found Sciencia Consulting, and what gap you felt was missing in the way that these science companies approach marketing and commercialization?
This was 10 years ago. I'd like to think it's a little bit different now, but at the time there was this huge gap in science companies, like companies that are founded by scientists, and they found a discovery, they patent it, and now they want to build it out, develop, and commercialize. And there was a huge gap in really understanding how to adopt technology. Or if it's not an end user, how a venture capitalist would, buy into the promise of the technology. So, large companies have always done this, and they're huge operations. But smaller companies, they just didn't have a huge bandwidth, not a lot of resources, and a lot of times they thought it was a great science, and so it was going to sell itself, and they just found out really quickly that that's not the case. So I started just to bridge that gap and provide, high top class quality, but at a cost competitive price, that can do a lot of things yourself. And so we, now it's a little bit different where we are helping bridging that gap, but also building internal capabilities, and that some of the people internal, whether it's the founder, the CEO, the CTO, CSO, that they can kind of communicate directly to, funders or customers or end users or whoever they want to reach, can kind of create this content and reach out to them directly.
Yeah, I was just about to ask regarding AI and this whole boom around it. How do you see it in your industry? Do you think it's a good?
Really, it's important to understand the tools and how they're developed, just general education, so you can work with them collaboratively. They always say an assistant, but it's more chief of staff, like just kind of elevating your strategic thinking, helping guide, maybe if you have like some initial thoughts, but it's really having, you kind of having trouble building out that plan. It really totally removes that barrier. So the content development itself, of course, you need to be careful that you're not just creating, AI, they call it AI slop. But, I think it's really just finding where your weaknesses are, and using AI to your advantage to elevate yourself in that particular part of the workflow, which is why I really like AI as well, because it can be very personalized.
hmm And when you think about your best fit clients, what makes a life science company an ideal partner for you guys?
It's definitely somebody who has a very complex product, where you really need to educate people on this novel technology and what it is and how it can help and why they would do it in the first place, or why, they would change how they're doing things and use this product, because it's really hard to change people's minds, I mean, and so the companies that we, really attract, and we have PhD writers, um, we're really, and admittedly, sometimes I talk to, companies, and if it's like a diagnostic company, you don't really need, it's not too complicated. Um, it's more of a different skill of like Me Too. There's so many like Me Too sort of product. But some of these other novel, new technologies, gene therapy, digital biology, programmable biology, all this stuff that sounds really scary, um,
Hmm.
that or risky from an investor standpoint, that's where we can really help elevate the brand and the image, but by education, not really selling bad goods, just like really educating people that they understand their workflow, how this fits in, or their problem, if they have a disease or whatnot, and how it can help solve problems.
You guys do lots of different stuff like SEO and omnichannel support and content marketing. If you had to pick one area, which one is you think creates the biggest and strongest business impact for your clients?
I would say the content, SEO content, coming up in these AI search tools, I think is really, a great, impactful way to reach your audience. Because people are kind of getting tired of social media and all this stuff. And it's all about information retrieval, getting the information when you want, whenever you want it, and how you want it, so you really show up when people are asking these questions. I think that's probably the
Mm.
biggest impact right now. To get there, you do need to do the operations of it all, because you need to really get high value, unique insights from the internal team, transform it into multiple formats, put it into multiple channels, and then look at the data to see what's working, what's not, so you can iterate and make better decisions. The kind of the DNA is like operations part of it, but on the outside, the content is probably what we find most enjoyable because it's creative, it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. And how you said the AI tools and coming up inside of these AI tools, I think that's a really untapped market now, since I've seen myself using just LLMs and these models, and I normally don't even go on Google in today's days and age. I just search it up on ChatGPT or Claude, for example, and if the company is visible inside of the LLM model, then that's just a great thing to have.
Yeah,
So
and it's
definitely.
easy to shape narratives in the market. Someone's asking a question that might be a little bit tangential to what you offer or how you think about things. You can contribute to that conversation and make your voice heard. That part I really like as well. But it does, the bad side, there is a lot of infrastructure you need to do with the website and unique content. So, you do
Mm.
need to put money and resources behind it. So I suppose it's not completely equal. But, you know, um, that's why we always try to amplify people who are really, honest, good, trustworthy people, that they're worthy of being shown in these chat tools.
And with this 10 years of experience, worked on both, strategic visibility and also the operational side of marketing. Where do you see that these life science companies are falling the most?
The most.
Is it like the strategy or maybe the execution part?
I have to say, that's a great question. I'm struggling a little bit because it's a little bit of a lens Some people do have that operational mindset, which typically comes along with being a really highly AI literate. And then other companies just aren't quite there yet, and they're still trying to kind of get up to speed. So maybe it is a little bit of the operations, but I do know where they fail the most. But sometimes, especially in this industry, it is kind of hard to look out 5 years from now because, health, public health laws changes and regulatory changes. But as a strategy, you really do need to look 5 years out, not 1 or 2 years. So that typically is around the board, especially the smaller companies. They're not kind of thinking that far off, which is understandable, and it keeps us busy.
And looking ahead over the next 8 months, how do you want Sciencia Consulting to evolve? What's the goal here?
We're getting more into training to use these AI tools in workflows, in the marketing workflows specific for life sciences. There's a lot of stuff out there, prompt this, prompt that, but and they're a little bit generic. But we have a collaboration with UC San Diego and San Diego State University where students come and do internships with our company, and they get real world life experience working in a high tech company and in the marketing space, life sciences. We do a lot of testing and learning and understanding these AI tools, specifically in life science marketing workflows. We certainly share a lot of our insights online, and so you can always follow us. But we are thinking of, we are in the process of developing an actual course because I think, I really want to empower people to be the best version of themselves. And I don't think it's going to take away firms itself or a science writing firm. I feel those companies are always going to exist. I just really want to elevate internal teams and companies to kind of empower themselves to, kind of do some of this themselves. And so we can work more in partnership.
Great. Jill, thanks for coming on the podcast. I will leave links so the people can check you out, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a good day.